All right. So my name is Jeremy Welch. I'm the founder of Casa, and today we're going to talk about premium hodler software. So thank you, Derek, by the way, for hosting us, everybody else for attending. We have been in the Bitcoin world and around the Blockstack ecosystem, very lightly around the Ethereum ecosystem, but we are diving headfirst in, and that's why I'm here. I'll also talk about some of the other stuff that we're doing. But I've learned a tremendous amount today, so thank you everyone for presenting. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the stuff we've built and where we're going now. So first off, it's not just me. I'm the founder, but we've got a tremendous team of both really strong designers and engineers. We've got two others that we haven't announced yet, but we'll be announcing in a couple more weeks. But we're expanding rapidly. So Scott Herf is a designer. He wrote a book called Designing Products People Love. He's the inventor of the super like on Tinder. So any of you that, you can thank him for the super like. But he is a total noob to the crypto world, which is perfect because he just doesn't put up with any of the BS. And when we talk about end users and we talk about the realities of talking about even keychain versus wallet, right? Like he's very sharp, and that's been a tremendous help. Nick Newman, who just recently joined us, he won ETH Denver for a key split product, and he has been helping us as we're transitioning into our Ethereum product. Logan Cease on mobile, Jameson Lopp on infrastructure. He did Multisig at BitGo. And then Nick Fogel, who's both a licensed attorney and a software engineer, and is doing web and hardware stuff for us now. But we have tons of conversations around smart contracts and how we can do multisig with Ethereum. But we've got an awesome group of guys, and we're trying to figure out how to secure and manage keys. So this all started because we were actually building a decentralized app around home sharing, and we reached a point where it occurred to us that even if we spent years building out this awesome user experience, and then someone lost their keys 6 months in, they would never use the D app again. And we started looking around for solutions. There are several that are out there right now, but that in terms of something that crosses multiple chains, multiple currencies, we couldn't find something that matched a bunch of our requests. And so we decided to dig in and build something of our own. So first I want to walk through some of the existing solutions around how people manage keys today. And then we'll get to what we've built with Casa. So first off, we have keyless on-ramps. Coinbase, Square Cash, Robinhood. We have these experiences that people can very easily get into. It's usually free to start. Amazing products built for getting people into cryptocurrency, but they're fully remotely controlled in terms of the actual keys. It's usually fully custodial. There's massive centralization risk. We've already seen nobody wants to mount Gox, but there's a lot of other risks with having everything contained in one. All the benefits that you get on the user experience side have this massive trade-off on the risk side. We also have hardware wallets, ledgers, Trezors, several other devices. You have local control and you have full access, but there is a learning curve. It's very low support, and there's massive theft and accident risk. We are seeing there are a lot of cases that haven't even been made fully public, with people having a gun put to their head and demands to transfer all of their currency. Again, it is growing. A lot of the cases are not public. I think that more will start to come out publicly. We just had one, I'll give you an example of the size too of this, is that we had one about 4 weeks ago that was, 5 weeks ago, it was around $25 million in personal funds that were stolen at the point of a gun. So this is a very real thing. Huh? I can't disclose. It was via a client, but it was in the U.S. It was in the U.S. In this case, it was a series of threats. It was initially they stole via a phone number swap. They stole an account, and then there were a series of threats after that, and then they cleaned out the wallet. But it was a progressive thing, and again, and we have had cases that were held at the end of a gun, and very physically at the end of a gun, not just threats. So I think more of those are going to come out. But there is this massive, massive issue there. We use Trezors and Ledgers today. We love the products, but there's definitely something more that's needed here. And then we have this max cold storage scenario. So Glacier Protocol, how many of you are familiar with that? Awesome. So Glacier Protocol is primarily Bitcoin, but it is the best farthest edge whenever you can getting into theft and accident protection. It is multi-sig. You end up generating a bunch of pieces of paper, each with the keys on the pieces of paper. You generate those on computers that were randomly bought at different locations. All of the connectivity devices stripped out of the computers, fresh boxes, freshly generating all your keys. It's super hard to set up. It's really hard to use. It's really hard to maintain, but it is extremely secure. And you have no support. It's very expensive to implement, but this is a solution that a number of exchanges have used, or a number of very high net worth individuals have used this solution in the past. We were looking at all three of these solutions and trying to figure out there's got to be a better balance here if we're going to grow the ecosystem, if we're going to get more people involved in the ecosystem, then we have to have a better way. So specifically, we want something that's local control, that's full service, minimize theft risk, accident and disaster recovery, and hopefully covering end-of-life transactions as well. So with that, we think that we've achieved that now with Casa. And our mission, our target, is to build the best personal key system on the planet. We emphasize personal key system because that you do have some other companies out there building awesome institutional grade systems. We are really focusing on the end user, the end customer, and even with the support side of things, the way we're designing the apps, and the way we actually, the key scheme that we're using currently is all designed to be used personally. So this is a little grayed out on the screen, but hopefully you can see the circle. So the implementation of how we do this is multi-signature, multi-location, multi-device. We are spreading your keys out across multiple locations. We are using multi-sig directly. Right now, we're primarily implemented on Bitcoin. We are on Bitcoin mainnet. And we are figuring out how to adopt this now to Ethereum, which is why I'm here. But under this scheme, multi-signature, multi-location, and multi-device, we are spread across both phones, Trezors, Ledgers, and a key recovery or a single key that we are holding as a company for you. And under this scheme, you never have, it's a 3 of 5 scheme, and you should never have more than 2 keys in one location. So in the case of you put a Trezor or a Ledger at home, one at your bank, one at, say, your office, another secure location, and you've got one on your phone, on your app, and we integrate directly with Apple's secure element and a keychain, Apple's keychain. And then as you travel with that phone app, you should be able to do in a regular daily use case the 3 transactions within basically the time it would take you to transit to your office or to a bank, which is pretty fast. It should be 30 minutes to an hour. So it is usable on a day-to-day basis. But it also has these additional protections that if someone were to come into your home, they would also have to travel with you in that case. So you have this layer of protection there. Doesn't mean that someone won't do that, but it does drastically increase the chances that they will be caught themselves. And it drastically increases the chances that you can get away or something else can happen because it's not a very tight window. So we're being very public with this, where a lot of times people recommend that you are not public about your crypto wealth. We're telling people, any of our clients that are using Casa and using strong multisig, to be public because it's actually a deterrent to attackers that you're using something like this, because it's gonna cost them a lot of time to get in and try to get your funds out. It's really important to us that it is DIY, that you can do DIY recovery, that you have full control as a user, that there's not a dependency on us as a company. In this case, we only hold 1 key. And so under that scheme, if we're attacked by a government or by another malicious actor, the best they could potentially do is get some level of a list of some of our clients, but they would have no access to funds. No attacker would get access to funds because it's only 1 of the total 5 keys. And then also similarly, if there was a power outage or there was some network communications outage and you still had to get control of your keys, recover your keys, you would still be able to do so because you have full control and you have the extra key at the bank there. So you can do a DIY recovery even without us if you were to lose one of those keys. So that's a lot, and I'll jump to questions at the very end of this, and we can come back to some of these slides. But again, the balance of why we specifically picked 3 of 5 is this mix of the local control, the minimized theft risk, accident disaster recovery, and then end-of-life transfers works by us using the one key that we have. We can give that up to someone in the case of if they sign the right documentation. We're doing very heavy in-person or video chat checks to hand over a key with lots of alerts to drive end-of-life transfers. So how do we actually implement that? I know we're at the end of the day here. I can do a demo, but I'm going to stick to just describing some of the things that we're doing right now, and then I can do demo stuff later. But we call this a key shield. This is live on Bitcoin mainnet. On the far left, we have a 3 of 5 shield that is fully up. We have one in the middle where, say, the one key hasn't been tested in a while, and so the home key is down. And then on the far end is a case to where actually 2 of those keys are down, so that you're at actually a major risk point because whether one of the keys got lost or stolen, whatever, it was flagged somehow, or it hasn't been checked in a while, and so your key shield is now down. It's at risk, and at that point we would be calling you. So the other big point about this is that it is a full service that we do have. It's we want a level of service, and we think that for the people that are storing large numbers of funds, that we've heard very strong response, positive response to literally the ability to call and get an answer on the second ring, that level of service, the level of service that someone's used to from a private bank or from some other institution, and that kind of relationship. A lot of high net worth individuals are not going to put money into Bitcoin if they're having to email someone and get into a support queue. So we are providing that level of service right now. That's not super scalable, but we are trying to provide this fully, the farthest we can on the edge experience. And then as we develop more and more tech and more software, we're going to figure out how to take big chunks of that and bring that out to a wider audience. So where are we today? We are live on Bitcoin mainnet. We have this 24/7 premium service. We just announced it in March, and then we are just implementing it with our earliest clients this month. And we're integrated across mobile, web, Trezor, and ledgers. We are focused primarily on high net worth individuals and family offices just because they have the biggest need right now. And it is $10,000 per year. So this is a real business model, which is kind of funny in the space, but it is pricey, but for the right person, if you're managing over 500K, over $1 million personally, then the $10,000 is nothing to have the highest level of security and service. Then Q2, Q3, Q4, we're currently working on our Ethereum integration, ERC20 support, ERC721 support. Litecoin, Zcash are, because they are forks from Bitcoin, that'll be a pretty similar integration to what we've already done with Bitcoin. Ethereum will be different. Monero will be different. Stacks, the block stack. I mentioned that we've worked very closely with the block stack team before, so we're going to support Stacks as well. We're also looking at alternate key schemes, more than just a 3 of 5. The 3 of 5 is, I think, the best for if you're a high net worth individual and you want to manage a lot of money. But for people that are managing smaller numbers of funds, there are some simpler key schemes that we're going to support. So join us today. So as a developer, the whole plan of this is that this is super cold storage, and plugging into exchanges, plugging into hot wallets, there are going to be lots of wallets that are used to actively do something with your funds or with your cryptocurrency. The whole point of this Casa wallet is to be the best of the best cold storage, both the most usable, the highest service, and the most secure. So if you're a developer for any number of projects, please talk to me, because we are trying to figure out how best to integrate with outside hot wallets and application wallets, DApp wallets. As a client, control your keys. You can sign up for the waitlist at keys.casa. You also follow us at Casa Hodl, or on GitHub, just at Casa. Or you can email me. So yeah, that's it. So we'll open up to questions.
So one question, you said You want to integrate it with other wallets as well. So are you developing an SDK for others to use?
We have not yet. That is the plan. But right now we are moving as fast as we can. This has moved a lot faster than we expected. I expect it will be end of year. We just finished re-architecting on the back end so that we can support other currencies easier, and so that we can build an API service layer that we would then plug into the SDK. So I would expect Q4 for that. But we are looking for input now so that we can understand what to build in and what the desirable kind of plug-in areas are. We've thought about everything from, say, time lock funds and other hot wallets that we could provide, you could query our service and we could provide an address for a certain user, so that if they're not active within, say, 7 days or 14 days, and you just send the funds that were in your hot wallet or in the staking wallet back to one of the cold addresses that we've generated. There are lots of ways that we can plug in, but there is this dance, as we've seen it, this question, and I think it's come up multiple times today, between security and usability, even privacy and usability. And using multisig enables us to add a layer of usability that's not normally there, just in terms of remembering and interacting with keys. But I do think that there are certain actions that you're going to want to be in a dedicated hot wallet for. We're not going to go into that until we want to plug into outside players.
Can someone give me a definition of what a hot wallet is in Ethereum land?
Everything right now.
Not Icebox.
Anything on an internet-connected device.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, I believe, as I understand it, the way crypto exchanges that handle Bitcoin today, a hot wallet is a running Bitcoin node that's online, that has those accounts online.
Yes.
That's not how Ethereum works.
So I understand that. We are addressing hot wallets as staking wallets would count. Anything that's on an internet connected device where you're going to have a single key. I understand again that there's terminology differences and Ethereum works very differently. So we are not implementing the exact same 3 of 5 that we use for Bitcoin for Ethereum. But going back to your specific question of hot wallets, we haven't found many solutions that are this cold. There are degrees of being cold.